the Voice of Turkey's English language transmission broadcasting from Ankara in the 49-meter band between 1830 and 1930 UTC on 5945 kHz to Europe, between 2030 and 2130 UTC in the 31-meter band on 9875 kHz to South Asia and Australia, between 2200 and 2300 UTC in the 31-meter band and on 9830 kHz to Europe, Eastern USA and Canada, and in the 25-meter band on 11660 kHz between 1630 and 1730 UTC to Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. The Voice of Turkey is also beamed between 0300 and 0400 UTC in the 41-meter band and on 7275 kHz to Europe, the USA, Eastern Canada and Cuba, between 0300 and 0400 UTC in the 49-meter band on 6165 kHz to Iraq, Syria, Iran and the Arabian Peninsula. You can listen to us over the Turksat 3A and 4A satellites and on the internet at www.trt.net.tr through the Voice of Turkey link. Please note that transmissions broadcast between 2200 and 2300 UTC and between 0300 and 0400 UTC have been pre-recorded. Our email address is englishdesk@trt.net.tr.
Before we begin our broadcast, let's have a quick look at the headlines. U.S. Muslim group presents award to First Lady Emine Erdogan for her humanitarian efforts. U.S. needs to give guarantees for a nuclear deal, Iranian president says. Kyrgyzstan foreign ministry says death toll in clashes with Tajikistan climbs to 59. Typhoon Nanmadol batters Japan, killing one, and Iranian fighter jet malfunctions. And now details of the news. U.S. Muslim group presents award to First Lady Emine Erdogan for her humanitarian efforts. Turkish First Lady Emine Erdogan received an award on Sunday in New York from a leading Muslim coalition for her humanitarian efforts. Erdogan was honored with the Outstanding Humanitarian Award during a ceremony organized by the U.S. Council for Muslim Organizations, a coalition of national, regional, and local Muslim groups. Quote, unquote, I am happy to be with you on the occasion of this very meaningful award ceremony. I accept this award on behalf of my country, which is the conscience of the world, said Emine Erdogan in her remarks at the ceremony. Quote, unquote, our religion tells us that the best competition among people is to compete in good deeds. In this sense, our record is full of examples of a charity race that astonishes people, she said. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi said that for a possible nuclear deal, the U.S. should offer guarantees that it will not withdraw from the agreement again. Speaking at the U.S. program 60 Minutes broadcast on CBS television, President Raisi answered questions about his country's stance on the nuclear deal and the indirect negotiations between Tehran and Washington. Raisi said that the U.S. unilaterally withdrew from the nuclear agreement signed in 2015 and therefore they cannot trust the Washington administration. Quote, unquote, we are going to be serious about reaching a deal if it's going to be a good and fair deal. The deal definitely needs to be permanent. There has to be guarantees that the U.S. won't leave the deal, said the Iranian president. Asked whether the U.S. citizens detained in Iran will be released if an agreement is reached from the ongoing indirect nuclear talks between Iran and the United States, Raisi said, quote, unquote, there are also Iranian citizens imprisoned in the United States. We told Americans that we can handle these issues separately from the nuclear talks. This is a humanitarian issue. It can be negotiated. When asked about the possibility of a face-to-face meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Raisi said, quote, unquote, I don't think there will be such a meeting. I don't believe it will be helpful to meet or talk to him. Stating that the Biden administration is no different from the previous U.S. President Donald Trump's administration that unilaterally withdrew the U.S. from the nuclear deal in 2018, Raisi said, quote, unquote, The new administration in the US claims to be different from the Trump administration. They told us this in their messages, but we did not witness any change in practice. The number of people killed in clashes that broke out on 16th of September between the border guards of Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan rose to 59. A statement by Kyrgyzstan Health Ministry said the bodies of 13 people were taken to hospitals after the clashes, bringing the total number of those killed to 59. The statement also said that 144 people were injured in the skirmishes, and 102 of those injured are currently under treatment in Bishkek and Osh city hospitals. Tajikistan Foreign Ministry had announced earlier that 25 people lost their lives in the border clashes. In other news, the Kyrgyz Foreign Ministry, in a strong-worded statement, said that the incidents that took place in Kyrgyz territories were a planned military aggression by Tajikistan. The statement said, quote-unquote, as of September the 19th, 2022, 59 people died and 144 wounded as a result of inhumane actions of Tajikistan. 140,000 people were evacuated and material losses are enormous. Quote-unquote, the Republic of Tajikistan grossly violated basic international principles such as territorial integrity, inviolability of borders, peaceful settlement of disputes, non-use of or threat of force, respect for human rights and freedoms enshrined in the UN Charter and other international documents, it said, reminding that Tajikistan sent its troops in advance to the Kyrgyzstan border using armed forces and heavy military equipment. The statement said the Tajik army unreasonably attacked border and civilian facilities and settlements in the Batken and Leylek districts of Batken region of the Kyrgyz Republic along the entire perimeter of the Kyrgyz-Tajik state border. Quote-unquote, despite numerous ceasefire agreements, the Tajik side continued its provocative shelling and seized some settlements in the Batken region of Kyrgyzstan, namely Dostuk, Aksay, Jashtik, Borborduk, Arka and Kulundu, the statement said. The statement said it strongly protested the unlawful and destructive actions of the Republic of Tajikistan, which, quote-unquote, has violated all previously reached agreements. Quote-unquote, the actions of the Tajik side may lead to the outbreak of a large-scale conflict between the states as well as to the destabilization of the situation in the Central Asian region as a whole. Moreover, the situation provoked by the Tajik side has already resulted in casualties among the civilian population, military personnel, severe damage to military and civilian infrastructure, health and property of local residents, the statement noted. Kyrgyzstan's Foreign Ministry also reaffirmed its, quote-unquote, unwavering position on the need to resolve disputes between the two countries exclusively by peaceful political and diplomatic means at the negotiating table. Typhoon Nanmadol brought ferocious winds and record rainfall to parts of Japan on Monday as one of the biggest storms to hit the country in years, killed at least one person and injuring nearly 70, disrupted transport and forced some manufacturers to suspend operations. Typhoon Nanmadol made landfall on the southern island of Kyushu. 4.2 million people have been told to evacuate their homes. The typhoon made landfall near the city of Kagoshima on the southern tip of Kyushu on Sunday morning. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida delayed his departure to New York, where he is due to deliver a speech at the UN General Assembly until Tuesday to monitor the impact of the storm, media reported. In a statement, Kishida told people to, quote-unquote, evacuate without hesitation if they feel in danger in any way. He also said, quote-unquote, I urge everyone to avoid going near places posing potential dangers such as rivers and other waterways or places at risk of landslides.